Five, four, three, two, one. Okay, all right. We back at it again with Brother Rashad. Okay, go ahead and run that down one more time, Shad. Now we got power.
Okay, good. Yeah, break down that thing, that Hegelian dialect you mentioned to me. It has something to do with controlled opposition, what we were kind of discussing in the last video.
Okay, all right. The controlled opposition, the Hegelian dialect, is basically this: creating, like the old folks used to say, working both sides against the middle, creating both sides of an argument only to end up with a desired middle. That's creating the Democrats and the Republican argument just to end up with a middle of socialism. That's creating the East Coast versus West Coast rap argument just to come into a middle where, well, we really want to run it from the South and then control it and take it back to this type of vibe. Or, and that's no diss to the South, because Goody Mob was holding hip-hop down for a minute as far as, or holding it up, I guess would be better said, as far as keeping a sense of the fifth element alive, the spirit, trying to keep a good and positive spirit alive. But basically the Hegelian dialect is a fancy way of saying problem, reaction, solution, which many who have watched Alex+Jones or watched Zeitgeist are aware of the problem, reaction, solution thing. Just like with the Bloods and Crips, wanting to create two opposing sides just so you get the end middle desired result. And the middle desired result in that case would be you want to throw young black brothers in jail, or you want to saturate the streets, the communities with white kryptonite. You want to destroy or cut down the population of a particular ethnicity, ethnic genocide, or eugenics. So, and that's a big part of what you see happening with the consciousness community. The consciousness community has been made to play a big part in that, and unfortunately, we're pretty ignorant of that. As a culture, we don't see it as that. When we see, for instance, okay, let's look at this. When you see Professor Griff come out and rail against, let's say he rails against Al Sharpton. You know, this is a hypothetical. In that hypothetical case, Professor Griff would represent one part of the black opinion that is under that's under control. Let's say Professor Griff is under their control, and when we say there, we're talking about the powers that be. Okay, so we send Professor Griff out there to control those who may look at Al Sharpton funny. Then we send Al Sharpton out there to control those who might look at Professor Griff funny. While I'm in the middle, controlling both ends. It's the black and white chessboard dynamic. It's chess, not checkers. When you see that chessboard exemplified in different videos, and when people break down what's going on inside of the Brotherhood Lodge, the floor that's black and white, it is even the Twilight Zone swirl when the Twilight Zone first come on. It's because that's how they hypnotize and mind control individuals, whole societies, by this Hegelian dialect. So that's what we're seeing, by and large, when you watching these brothers go head up. You know, I've seen a lot of battles on YouTube. Well, you know what? I've not watched a single one, but I've seen them listed. I've seen the battles listed. Brother Ra'un Nefer Amen goes against Brother Malachi X. And I'm like, why are they going against each other? But I understand that that's part of controlled opposition. Not to say that all of those brothers are complicit. You don't have to know to be used as a part of controlled opposition. It's better if you do, and there are a great deal who do know that that's what they're being used for. But you don't have to know that. All you have to do is be so stuck on your side. Shad, you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So.
Yes, sir. Hey, I'm just trying to block out some outside noise at all.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. So that's the thing. You know, you don't have to be complicit in doing it. You don't have to be knowing that you're doing it. But all you have to be is just so stuck on your side that you want to force others into believing what you believe is true. Or you are so stuck on your side that you're naturally in opposition to the other side. You so cripped out that you just got to oppose the blood. I don't care if the blood is saying the right thing or doing the right thing. You know, you so much into West Coast rap that you just will not give a listen to the East Coast rap, even if it sound good. That is when you know you've got somebody under mind control. And I remember that happening. I remember people being I remember when nobody asked you what you listen to, East Coast or West Coast. And I remember when people started asking you that. When that was a new phenomenon. And it was odd to me as an old head, you know, who used to like whatever sounded fresh. That was odd to me to see that happen. But that just goes to show you that there's a behavior modification program in full effect that knows how to get you to think a certain way or to not think a certain way. And, you know, just to touch on this real fast, because I got to also, they do it with Christianity and other disciplines. Now, some people are under the misconception that America is a Christian land. Excuse me. Some of the people who study the Eastern sciences, and that's Commission science, that's Buddhism, that's Hinduism, some of those people choose to study those sciences because they believe that Christianity is solely tainted 100% and is nothing but an agent of Western philosophy used to destroy the truth in Eastern philosophy. It's the East Coast versus West Coast again. Because there's still something to be, and I maintain again, Christianity could not have been the religion of the Messiah. However, it's the way of the Messiah tainted and hijacked, covered in Luciferian belief systems and sun worship. Okay? And that is controlled from the top down, by and large, by the Catholic Church, the Pope who calls himself the Vicar of Christ, which means the substitute for Christ, and the Black Pope, who is the hidden power behind the Jesuit order, who controls what churches believe from the top down. Okay? Now, that's a fact. But you become part of the Hegelian dialect when you look at your grandma and your mama and them going into the church, and you begin to see them as the enemy, like a Crip see a Blood as the enemy, or like a Democrat see the Republican as the enemy, or like the East Coast saw the West Coast as the enemy, when in fact there is a media push in the middle to keep you in that blind mindset so that you can glean nothing good from what your grandma and your mama and the church they go to may have to offer you. So therefore you miss out on a segment of that slice of truth in that pie we talked about. You miss out on that whole segment. Okay, and that's part of the reason for the popularization today, or the repopularization of the black consciousness move, because it is part of the Hegelian dialect to go against the Christian side. And the Christian side, by and large, you have Boule ministers and Pastor Porkchop and them controlling that side of the conversation, and they point at the brothers and sisters with dreads and locks and or you know with unks and are wearing cultural dress, and they look sideways at them. By and large. And that's part of a game, because there is something right to identifying with your culture, and there's something right to identifying with the part of your culture that's hidden from you as the original Hebrew. Let's jam. So now you have this dynamic of black power that misses anything having to do with the Bible or anything having to do with Jesus. And again, I only call him Jesus because, like a great many things that I thought was right when I tried it, and I mean when I had to try it. I didn't try it willingly. I didn't try it purposefully. Didn't mean to. And I saw that, wow, this does move extra dimensional entities. This moves this demonic being up out my way. And it was a shock to me. And I'm gonna say it time and time again. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So that made me say, okay, what else was I lied to about within this discipline of Christianity? Just like I had to do about every other science. Are there things that they say in Luciferianism that have truth to them? Well, if there weren't, no one would be Luciferian. Come on, let's jam. Every lie is built on the foundation of a piece of truth. If the lie is worth believing, if the lie is believed by any number of people, there has to be some foundation of truth. And so what I saw was the Luciferian lie looked too much like the black pride, knowledge of self, pro-consciousness, belief system, the Commission science. And I didn't know why at first. That took some time, because there's a misinformation put out there when you study Commission science. And what they will tell you is, well, this is how the Illuminati took control of everything. They took our science, which is supposed to be, let's examine that. Let's play that tape all the way out. So the Illuminati take a godly thing, a godly science, and they use it to create so much havoc worldwide. They use it to create and manufacture white kryptonite that destroys communities. They use it to cause black on black crime and eugenics and genocide. They use it to poison the air with chemtrails. They use it to send electronic transmissions throughout the airwaves that fry your brain, destroy your mentality, and cause people to go insane. They use it to design demonic music that has dudes killing their wife and children. They use it to come up with a homosexual agenda that they creep in through skinny jeans. They use it to do so many things. Who has used it to do good? And if it's divine, how can you take that which is divine and truly use it against us? We know they truly use it. When people say, well, they use the Bible against us, people that use first of all, if you use the science that's behind the Bible, you're using a godly science. I can take bits and pieces out of anything and use it against you. I can take bits and pieces out of the Cat in the Hat and use it against you. But if I take the Cat in the Hat as a whole and try to use that as a belief system, it's going to look awful goofy and silly. So when people say that they're able to take the Bible and use that against us, you're ignoring the fact that they're not practicing quote unquote Christ-like principles. They're saying that they are, but they're not. So now, when I see the Commission brothers and sisters, I know brothers and sisters who practice those principles to the T, and their lives are jacked up. Your grandma practiced 70% of the biblical principles, and she got a house. She kept y'all fed. She kept the heat on. She made sure that y'all wasn't running around here looking like game goofy goobers. She took care of business. And the further we get away from that, see, the lie is, well, when they came here, we had the land and they had the Bibles. When they left, we had the Bibles and they had the land. That's a game goofy lie.
They let them learn that. I don't know why. They kill a lot of people with that, though.
Yeah, well, they do. They do. But I overstand it. That's what Pastor Poke Chop and Pastor Dollar and the rest, that's their big job. Their job is to make it look like everybody who deals with that science is for some games. I ain't for no games. I don't even play lottery. They trying to make it look like if you deal with the Bible, you're deceived or a deceiver. If you know, and I maintain that a person that follows the Quran, and I don't mean the game goofy way. People would take little excerpts of the Bible out the same way they take little excerpts of the Quran out. And they will run with that excerpt. Well, I can do the same thing from the book of coming forth by day and by night, which if you enter your convention science, you pose a nobody. I can take an excerpt from that. How about how Horus gets his cheeks blew out by Set? So is that acceptable for you to become as Horus? Is that what they tell you in the Boule? Don't play with me. See, people will run stuff on you based on what you don't know. I know the taint in that. When they tell you to believe that you are a god, what you do is you vibrate in such a way as to open yourself up for a pride spirit or for a demonic entity to step in, walk in, and sit in your body, and it is the God. And it will use and abuse you till it leave. You fall deeper in the style. It's hard to breathe. And that's the big deception. People want to believe that they are gods. They do not want to bow down to something higher and greater than them. And then they make these lofty claims that, you know, and use lofty names. I'm so and so, I'm this and I'm that. And they can't do nothing. They can't levitate. They can't do no telekinesis. They're not able to heal, you know, but yet they will tell you that this is the key. This is the real key. And you just as regular as me. You the regulars, not the strongs. And that, but that's what I see happening. People get it twisted. They follow those belief systems for the same reason that people follow Luciferianism, because they're looking for power, unlimited power, like the emperor. They believe that they can be the supreme master of their own universe. And to a certain degree, as a baby G, and I don't mean as a baby goofer, I mean as a small version of the creator, you can create certain things in the world around you with your word, similar to how the Most High created all of the worlds, seen and unseen, by the word of the Most High. So we do have some creative power and some creative force. But create for me an oak tree seed. Create for me from out of thin air a bird. Until you are able to do those things, create for me a planet. Until you can do those things, you're not the supreme. You're not the true and living. And so that entire discipline falls flat on its face when you really examine its claims. But it's the same delusion that Crowley was under. It's the same delusion, just colored black. To say, well, you know, I am my own God, I will govern myself, is the same thing as saying, man, do as thou wilt. And it's the reason why Crowley went to Egypt to really put his studies down and do his greatest workings. And it's the reason why he read the hieroglyphics. He read them better than any Negro in America would be allowed to do. And he got in contact with Horus. who is the deity of the Commission science. That's who they say is the Messiah model, the Christ model, the Son. They say the original Son. And when I say they say, we're talking about facts that come from one source only. Now, if the Jesuits run things, or if you want to say that the Illuminati run things, they don't run universities. They don't approve and disapprove of what goes inside of a book. So you mean to tell me the Jesuits and the Illuminati and the Masons is so game goofy that all they have to do, if you want to hide it from a Negro, is put it in a book? I hate them old coonish express. Now that's coonish. I hate them. You know, and then when you peep through this game, you become the odd one out. I'm gonna tell you, because you're not grouped up with the rest of them no more. And this is when you really put the target on your back. But this is also when you put the battery in your back, and when you're able to really see what's going on and you really operating. Because I'm not bound by anything any longer. I'm not bound by Christianity. I'm not bound by black consciousness. I'm not bound by the misbelief that I'm a god. I'm not bound by the magic of my ancestors, which caused the greatest civilization mankind ever created to be created and to fall. The same magic that built it up was the same magic that destroyed it. The same belief that I'm a god, that the fallen beings, the Neteru, used to build up Egypt, used to build up Kemet, used to build up Summer. The Anunnaki built up Summer through human beings, through the possession of human beings. That same magic, that same possession is what caused Summer to fall, what caused Kemet to fall, what caused Egypt to fall.
I'm glad you brought that up. That leads me to ask, is that the reason why, I remember we were talking, I think Sunday or Saturday, that, when people start talking about black ownership, stories of Black Wall Street, Black Bottom in Detroit, people in the black community, I guess they need to spend more money with each other, get their own economic base, start doing things, I guess, I don't know, completely separate themselves. And is that the reason why it won't work out, because of what was done in the past?
Well, that's therein we have another Hegelian dialectic. We have another example of wrapping a bold lie in a good truth. It's true that you should own your own. You should strive to be your own businessman. And you should help out yourself and your kind and your community. All other cultures and nationalities do this. It is notable and remarkable that the black community has an issue with this. And I maintain it is because of the black Boule, because of the Prince Hall Masons, and because of the black consciousness community who are controlled by the Jesuit order, just like the Nation of Islam is. It's these entities that really keep that thought from flourishing. The Black Bottom, the Black Wall Street, Rosewood, these great communities that we once had, they fall for the same reason that Egypt fell. They fall because of infiltrators. They fall because of traitors and infiltrators. Traitors who will sell their own kind out for a pretty penny, or for shekels of silver. And then you have the infiltrators who come in from other cultures and communities who wish to try to take what a particular culture and community has established and take it for their own. That's takeover 101. You find it with the Hyksos dynasty taking over Egypt and turning Egypt from the Luciferian inspired culture that it once was into the newly Luciferian inspired culture. The same pride. It's the same pride that causes us to fall. Now there's a way in which you can be pro your own self and kind without being anti others. That's how we flourish. That's the only way to flourish. Because guess what? In America, if you think you're going, I heard a sister say in the health food store one time in a natural patch on 9 Mile in Ferndale. I heard a sister say, and she was obviously a Muslim sister. And I got love for my Muslim sisters and brothers. And she said, she was passing out something about Farrakhan was going to be speaking in town. And she said how the minister had a plan to get us our own land and blah, blah, blah. And it just kind of made me kind of zone out for a minute and kind of tune out what she was saying, because I realized, that's another brainwashing tactic, because there is no way in this society today that we will be able to stand alone without being either infiltrated by others or traded on by brothers, because everybody have their price. So when people talk about black reparations, or when they talk about, we need to get our own, they're either very idealistic and delusional if they don't play that tape all the way out in conversation. Again, please, for those that's listening, I know Shad know me better than that, because he remember when I would talk awful bad about other cultures. But it's a blinder that has been taken off of my eyes that I wish to try to let other people see through. That's part of the game. I don't like to be gamed. So it's part of the game to make you believe that the enemy is another culture. Let us look at the dynamic of it's the human race versus other. And just like you see in other cultures and other ethnicities, yes, we should promote ourselves and our kind. We absolutely should. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, when we do it in a separatist manner, or in even worse than separatist, in a prejudice manner, when we exercise so much pride that we step into hate of another kind, that's where the issue come in at. And it's a rare dude that I have seen that don't confuse the two. It's something about pride that jump inside and make you lose your mind. It's something about pride that makes you lose your focus. It's something about pride that makes you elevate yourself, not just lift yourself up, but put other people down. And anybody that's got to put somebody else down and lift themselves up is wrong. Now let me say this unequivocally. In nature, there's order. And if things was in the order they were supposed to be in, we wouldn't have to have these conversations. But if it was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. The damage is done. Things would never go back to a certain way, because things are moving in a certain direction, because there is an unseen hand that's greater than the white man, that's greater than the Illuminati, that's greater even than the fallen angels, the spirit beings that are in control of these secret societies, who happen to be using, or who happened to have been using, the white race for thousands of years now because of certain insecurities and inabilities to accept their position in nature. In nature, there is dominant and there is recessive. Dominant is bigger, dominant is stronger, dominant is faster in nature. Now this is where people get to feeling some type of way. Emotions come in, and I mean on both sides, because my brothers, they'll feel some type of way. Their pride don't get to swelling up. Look at your bank account. Look at your credit score. Don't get to swelling up. But we're talking about nature. So in nature, everything has its place. The enemy, the adversary of us all, is a spirit being that overstands how to confuse and put things out of place, to turn things backward, to make black be where white should be, and white be where black should be, to make men be where women should be, and women be where men should be, to make animals be where humans should be, and humans be where animals should be, to switch things around, the law of reversal, as Crowley called it. So a lot of what we're seeing flourish with racism is only because of the law of reversal throwing things out of sorts. There is a true law of reversal, and that law has been used to cause confusion. There is a famous line in Scripture that's often quoted. It says, God is not the author of confusion. Well, then who authored it? Because it's an awful lot of it being authored out here. The enemy's tactic of divide and conquer. And when I say the enemies, I'm talking about the secret societies that are peons and suckers, suit and tie suckers, who are duped and then gangstered into following a certain agenda and trying to push others along that same agenda. That divide and conquer tactic that they're used to disseminate throughout society is what you see creating racism. If everybody stayed in there, which obviously that was not the will of the Most High. If everybody stayed in their position, so what was the white man, was the European supposed to stay in the caves? Was the Caucasian supposed to stay in the Caucasus Mountains? And was the black man supposed to stay in huge palaces, huge temples built off sacred geometry, used to call down and conjure up spirit beings who was working that sucker to death, who had totally taken over the royalty, the kings of the earth, and the rulers who set themselves together and took counsel against the Most High and against his anointed? Psalm 2 and 2. No. The Most High cannot be surprised nor fooled. So the script had to be flipped. He who was once in the palaces had to go down to the caves or the projects. And he who was once in the caves or the projects had to be put up in the palaces. So that all would be brought low. And every knee would have to bow at the end of the day against the one true ruler. To the one true ruler. And that's where we're heading now. There was a thing Dr. York used to talk about in the scrolls. I never read the scrolls. About the neutrinoid agenda. The move toward taking nationality out of the conversation. The move toward lightening up the black sex symbols, or lightening up the black actors and actresses, beigifying black and brown. And he would say that move was to help take nationalism out of the conversation. The one world order was to be not just one religion, not just one gym shoe, Nike, but to be one race. And that would be an amalgamation. And I remember I thought to myself, I used to think everything that the New World Order was trying to do was because they were in control and they were driving us all toward this inevitable goal. Now I'm starting to realize some things. They're wise enough not to step on God's toes concerning certain things, and they're slick, sneaky, and serpentine enough to want to take credit for different things that the Most High is doing. And the Most High is evening things out. He's making sure that he's true to his word when he says he's no respecter of persons. He don't like Jews more than he like Arabs or Muslims. And he don't like blacks more than he like whites. He do things by the Spirit. So if you do everything by your eyesight will fail you. It will fool you too. The things you read and take into your eye gates. You reading all sorts of knowledge of self from books that were written by men who by and large belong to brotherhoods. You look around and you see a black community impoverished, falling in upon itself, a remnant of a once great society, or what once looked great to you. My grandma used to say everything look good ain't good. So you aspire again to be godlike. And you aspire again to be better than. You aspire again to be full of pride. I'm black and I'm proud. And make the same mistake twice. That's where the game is at. How do we win that game? It's going to take a lot of heads. And unfortunately, all them heads ain't going to have 9 the hair. It's going to take us all. It's going to take us all to ball not crawl and to resist the fall that will follow pride. It's time to be proud of the human race. When you truly are comfortable with who you are, you don't have to wear it on your sleeve. There's no way I can deny my culture. Never would I do such a thing. I'm proud to be from, pound for pound, the blackest, to me, most dopest, soulful city in America. I'm proud of it. I say it all the time. I'm proud of the fact that we saw a city sustain itself for years with its own culture, with its own ethnicity. I was proud when a mayor rose up from the ranks of the people there, or so it appeared. But I'm going to tell you, fool me once. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I began to see that pride was a blind side. That pride, and again, it's a difference between being confident and being conceited. That particular form of pride was keeping me from seeing another side. And that's that the people that they use against the people have to look like the people. And that's not just the suit and tie suckers. That's the brothers who are deceived unknowingly as well, because they have allowed themselves to fall the same way our ancestors fell, by opening up themselves to the idea that they are the supreme creator. Not a creator, but the creator. Remember, the enemy, the quote-unquote the devil, is a legalist. All you need to do is say one word wrong. You see it in the comments. If I say a word wrong, everybody ready to jump on me.
Right.
So how much more so would the devil do that? So we can't just be comfortable in saying that we're the creator. You got to qualify that. Say, I am a creator, but there is a creator higher and greater than I. One whose understanding is boundless and beyond the grasp of my limited, finite thinking. Because if I could figure out all of the ways of the creator, what kind of creator would that be? That creator would be me. But guess what? I can't figure out all of my thoughts. That's just real talk. You do something sometimes. Why did I do that? How did I get myself in this predicament? So what kind of God would I be? I'm glad that I can't figure it all out. And a man, it says that a wise man knows that he knows not. A man knows when he knows not. I'm a man. I ain't scared of nothing of this world, and not too much from the world beyond. So I can say, and it ain't going to make me lose no weight, I can say, I don't know. But maybe I can point you in the right direction. And then maybe I can't. Speaking of which, just real quick too, I wanted to touch on something that was asked that I finally got a better answer to. And I hope that it benefits somebody. One of the key questions that people have concerning the Bible. And again, if you don't like the Bible, you probably won't like me. So we don't have to keep kicking it. But I'm speaking to the people watching. But because, you know, I know where you stand, you know where I stand. But a lot of people will use the Old Testament versus New Testament dynamic, which is another version of working both sides against the middle. When you get into that dynamic, there's a middle goal. What's the middle goal? To get you to throw the whole book out. That's the middle goal. So I try not to go down that road because I realize the end game, and I'm not to be gamed. I say I don't know, but I ain't to be gamed. So the game is this. I say, well, for instance, you find in Exodus and in Leviticus, you find things like an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Then the Messiah come along and say, well, hold on. You've heard it said that, you know, you should pay an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. But I say that if somebody slap you on one cheek, give him the other cheek also. And he didn't mean booty cheek. So how do you work that out? And finally, through much prayer and strain of the brain, because I was trying to think about a spiritual concept with my 6 1/2 ounce brain. A lump of flesh at the end of the day. No more fresh than any other lump of flesh. So it took for the Most High to impart this to me in real life experience. And I had to watch the ways of a child versus the ways of an adult. And I had to think about the way you discipline and give laws to a child. And then it had to be brought to my attention that we're talking about the Old Testament. We're talking about the beginning of time and mankind in his infancy. And that all things concerning evolution aren't to be thrown aside. Again, that's a slice of that pie. What does evolve? Certain things about mankind do evolve. Aren't the athletes getting bigger, stronger, faster? Left to their own devices without the manipulation of media, the children would be getting smarter. So there is a form of evolving. I saw it when we had roaches at one period of time, long time ago, in a relative's home. And I saw how when you killed off the first wave, and then I even read about it, that the next wave of roaches know some of the things that them other ones knew, plus some, and move faster. And, you know, in a being as simple as a roach, you find evolution. Then you can imagine in one as complex as a human being, you'll also find some semblance of that same theory, that we too evolve. So what you see in the Old Testament is the rules given to mankind in his infancy. Mankind is a toddler. It's like on the zodiac clock that we looked at. Things go in ages and stages. And that was an age and a stage of mankind where, because he was more brutish, like a toddler, you try to explain to your toddler why he can't put his finger in the socket. Good luck. You better pop that pamper. He'll get the picture then. And that's the time period that we was in. The Most High was dealing with man on the level that man was on in his infant stages of development. And by the time Yeshua comes to the scene, by the time the Messiah, Yeshua, Jesus, comes to the scene, you find mankind in a newer, higher, or at least what appeared to be a higher Yahweh state of mind. And so his ability to understand laws and rules and discipline had expanded. And when mankind's ability to understand expands, there's an old adage that says that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Well, I maintain that's part of what you see happening here. Even on somebody as lightweight channel as me. I'm not in the big names, and I don't want to be in the big names. But because of mankind's need for something new that ain't established, it ain't the Commission science, it ain't Christianity, it ain't Jesuit controlled, and it ain't Boule controlled neither. But there's new questions, And there's a new thing. Sing unto me a new song. There's a new song being sang. What up, though, Brother Nick? We're going to get tonight. Tonight's the night, like Betty Wright. There's a new thing being done. And when it's time for a new thing, new teachings arise on the scene. And I'm not, Brother Shad, I'm not game goofy to the Commission science one bit. I ascribed to it at one time without looking at any of the flaws. Now I see the flaws in everything, in all the laws. How can you know something is a universal law? You was not here at the beginning of the universe. Everything that you think you know has come from a book unless you have experienced it yourself or somebody taught you. And you have to be able to trust your teachers. So I hope that on any level whatsoever, I'm found to be trustworthy, that I've been entrusted with a new thing. That yes, we was lied to about Christianity. Yes, we was lied to about being the Israelites, the original Jews. Without a doubt, the story of Moses works that out. If you believe the story of Moses, you cannot doubt who the original Jews were. And that's okay. But that's not a source of looking at people who actually adhere to Judaism sideways. Nor is it an excuse to deny their ability to access something that you don't even want no more. Because you'd rather deal with the God status or the wannabe God status of Kemet instead of those who Ibri, who came out or crossed over from out of Kemet. Because there was a way there was anathema to survival, and they saw it. They saw the game, and they left out of Kemet. And that's where you get Ibri or Hebrew or the Jew from in reality. So when we look at the state of Israel and the Zionist agenda, God is not a pretender and he's not a lie. He's not a man that he should lie. He said he's no respecter of persons. And if you believe in Messiah, Messiah made it clear and made it plain, as did the prophets, that no longer will you get privilege because of your bloodline. That's Illuminati 101. And I'm going to do something especially for my Israelite brothers and sisters. And mankind is no longer in his infancy. But that does not mean the things I learned when I was a toddler, I'm supposed to throw them away. Those lessons are still good. And that's why you don't throw the Old Testament out. Some of those things that I learned as a toddler, or some of those things that was given to mankind in his infancy, in his toddler stages of development and evolution, are still applicable today. How do you know which ones? Study to show thyself approved. Read it for yourself. Don't let Pastor Porkchop point you and guide you around by the nose as to what part of the scripture you should read and what part you shouldn't. What part you need and what part you don't need. That should be something that you allow for the spark of God within you to guide you through, along with wise counsel. Ain't nothing wrong with having wise counsel. And wise counsel should be eldership. And you should know something about the history of your people, starting with the history of your elders and your mentors. What do they belong to? What's in their wallet? What kind of knowledge are they sitting on? For real. What membership card is in their wallet? And then once you find the eldership, the mentorship that fits where you need to go, still look at that as a school and a teacher. I prefer that title, if any. And I appreciate those who have given me that title and come to my page, my humble page, which is an expression of the temple that I am. That I am. A temple of the truer Yahshua. Really going down through what he has shown me through practical application of these different truths and disciplines, and finding out for myself what worked and what didn't work, then sharing it with you. And it's functioning as a temple, as a church, I believe, truly should do. And I appreciate all who come to the temple. We know church come from Xerxes and Cirque and Circle and Kirk. Let's not get into semantics, antics of the Semite. You know, if that's the case, we need to find another language to speak. I had one dude say we're not even supposed to be using words. We're supposed to be using telepathy. Well, good luck. You will essentially isolate yourself from the ability to be of any assistance to anyone else. So therefore, you will make yourself a self-contained, delusional deity. And your good will only be to yourself. What I'm attempting to do is to share that which I found true with others. And the game is told, not sold. Now, there are certain spiritual principles. When your teacher is doing a proper job, and when that is their job, and, you know, I pray for the Most High to move me into a position where I can do both. I want to do both at this stage. But right now, at this stage, this is 24/7 like 7-Eleven. So do the right thing, like you would for Pastor Pork Chop. And I have those who do, and I appreciate you, and especially you, Precious A, Brother Trey, Brother Rashad, Ms. Mice, my main man 50 grand again and again and again from New York City, live and direct, Brother Minister Ron, Crossman the Boss Man, my sister True Brown, for sure, from Motown. And the list goes on and on and on, because that's just how it goes down. I appreciate you all, and I appreciate the ability to stand up on this wall and to call it like I see it, y'all. And then to take on any challenges. And to concede when I don't know and when I'm wrong. And to even apologize. Of course. Why wouldn't I? Who am I? When I'm wrong. So, with that being said, I hope it's clear to those who have ears to hear where I stand. And it's not about me. I'm just a man. But I'm an anomaly. I'm designed to do something in these days and times from the divine. And I hope that I'm doing it like it Geo. And that's from Brother Minister Theo. Brother Shad. Shotty Mike.
Can you hear me?
I hear you clearly now.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm still here.
Okay. Well, now I done got up on my soapbox and I didn't talk too long. So, is there anything you want to add, or you want to close with, or you want to build on? At this point, we at 52 minutes in, and you know, a lot of folks say, "Hey, don't worry about the time," but you know, I know people have things to do, and the attention span of man is designed to cut off after a certain time. Some people say that the mind can only pay attention as long as the behind can stand it.
Well, I think we covered a lot, man. I think we covered a lot tonight. You can hear me, Phil?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Okay, yeah, we covered quite a bit. I think, you know, we can, you know, if you like, we can end it on this note or whatever, pick up, you know, at another time as more things come to mind. I appreciate you taking the time to do this. Having me on air with you, even though I didn't have much of a presence, but, you know, I learned in due time. Answer quite a bit of my questions and then some. I hope it helps some other people that might have those similar, you know, things to, I guess, bring forth to you. But like I said, I appreciate the time, man. I appreciate you doing this. I hope somebody everybody listen to the message, get something out of that message, and continue to do so. And I appreciate your ministry. I appreciate what you're doing. I told you that before we started recording. You know, you came a long way. I think we both did.
Amen.
And we still got a long way to go.
True indeed. Selah. True indeed. True indeed. And you know, Shad, I appreciate your friendship and your presence, your spirit, or the fact that you operate out of the spirit of the true and living. You ask questions with the right intention. Some people ask questions just to start something. And some people ask questions to plant a seed of doubt in others because they have a seed of doubt in themselves. And then some people ask questions just because they sincerely want to know. And I take on all comers. But I sincerely enjoy, well, I enjoy all of it, really and truly. But I really get a kick out of your questions because, and all of the sincere questions that come from different comments that I get out there. And, the fact that a person would even ask me, out of out of all of the things I thought that I would be doing, this is not one of them. And that's to the glory of the Most High, the true and living. And I'm very thankful to be of some use. A big shout out also to Tony Charles. The sister gave me great insight into different things that was going on in the UK, and the fact that this is a new world order conspiracy that is designed to mirror some of the true world order plans that the Most High has for man. And, I was able to see certain similarities in how things was being done in the black community in the UK as to how they was being done in Detroit, thousands of miles away. And that to me was very sobering. And I look forward to having more conversation along that line with that good sister of mine. And, also to Sister Janine C. and Sister Tasha, and to all of my brothers and sisters and others. To my main man Nick, who has a great presentation that we are going to get up. We're trying to do as the Holy Spirit leads and give people what they need by their needs. And excuse me, he's got something really unique to share that I know that the Most High gave him. And I'm pleased to be among some very sharp knives in the drawer. Maybe that'll help to sharpen up my dull knife a little bit more. And the Matthew 24 family is in full effect. Matthew 24 and 24. If it were possible, they would deceive the very elect. But it's not possible because we're unstoppable. We can't lose with what we use. The Ruach HaKodesh. And I'm just thankful to be a part of this true body of Yeshua's new body in the flesh. And, that's about all I know how to say about it at this point. Oh, and a big shout out to my West Coast fam, to Sister Lala, to Sister Joanne, to Brother Michael, Brother Mike and Saginaw as well. Just so many thought difference. From the east side, Brother Niz, I believe was his name. Just so many new friends and family, and I feel comrades in arms have been made by this little channel here, and I want to keep it organic. People say, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? I got a couple of little things in mind that I'm going to do to spice it up, spruce it up a little taste. But for the most part, this is what I was looking for when I was looking for certain things online. Because this is, to me, this is the sign of the divine, for real. And no lights, no cameras, no special effects. They want effects. And, we just give it to them raw and uncut. Detroit style. Ain't that right, Shad? You there? Shad. Shad must be taking a break. But no, you good, brother, you good. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and just close this one out. Maybe we'll close out in prayer. I'm gonna say a little taste of the prayer, and then we're gonna come on out of here. What you think about that, Shad?
That works for me.
Okay, all right, we're gonna touch and agree. Right now, in the name of the Most High, by the will and the power of the Most High, in the name of the Messiah, we touch and we agree right now that you will touch all of the listeners and viewers in a very special and benevolent way, that you will meet their every need, anything missing, anything broken, anything, Father, that they are in need of, any lack in their lives. We just ask right now that you restore to them anything that the devourer, that the cankerworm, that the palmer worm has attempted to try to take away from them. We ask right now that you protect the finances, that you protect the health, that you protect the mental health and the spiritual health of all who are able to receive this message. We also ask, Father, Almighty Ahaya Yahavaha, that you help those who have unbelief and want to believe. For I have a very special place in my heart for them. I was once one of those very same kinds of minds. And we also ask, Ahaya Yahavaha, that you continue to impart new things and keep a new song playing in this temple, on this channel. I ask that you impart new things to the viewers, to the listeners, so that like iron sharpens iron and steel sharpens steel, for real, they will be able to help each other out in the comment section, like I've seen happening. And I think that's a beautiful thing. It makes my heart sing. And I also ask that you allow us to continue to reveal things, for it is written, it is the glory of God to conceal a matter, and the glory of kings to reveal it. So, Father, let us earn our crowns while we still down here on these earthly grounds. I ask also that you turn upside down all of our frowns, for the joy of the Lord is our strength, and a merry heart doeth the body good like a medicine. Father, cut on all of our lights like Con Edison. And Father, keep us from being reticent or from being rebellious, resistant of things that we know are true, things that are truly of you, and things that we doubt are true, that are truly of you. Heavenly Father, help us to work it out. Help us to see through all of the deceptions and the lies and the tricks of the enemy, the layers, the many layers of this onion. Let us have the patience to peel one layer back at a time so we don't miss anything with our finite mind. Let us also be able to access the spark of the divine within inside of all of us, that spark of the Spirit they call the Holy Spirit. Let us be able to use that to discern things beyond our intellectual comprehension. Let us also be able to overstand when we understand, to know when we know not, and let us be men and women about it. Let us help one another and not be hindrances. Let us not attempt to be haughty and prideful and boastful about the things that we've been taught by others. Let us truly be sisters and brothers on this channel, at the very least, Heavenly Father, consecrated unto you, given to you as a worthy sacrifice, a living sacrifice. I sacrifice unto you my life. And Father, I just ask that you don't let your good be evil spoken of. Allow for no weapon formed against us to prosper, and let every tongue that rises up against us be condemned. And we love you. We thank you. We give you the highest praise that we know. Hallelujah. Quatahilaya. And we thank you for another chance to serve you. In the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Messiah, we touch and we agree in the name of the Son and call it done. Selah.
Yeah.
All right. All right, Brother Shad, you have a good night. And I'm going to cut the recorder off, and we'll kick it. We'll chat it up a little bit. A little taste here while we upload this one, I guess. I guess it's ready. And, you know, we'll we will soon be doing one on sports. Sports, I think his name was Sports Fiend 33. Had a special request of me, and I want to get that request on. Excuse me. And I'm gonna bring Brother Shad in on that because I'm gonna let it be like a talk between the fellas. I got a couple fellas that are more well versed in the current goings on in sports than I am, and I really want them to be a part of that conversation so that like any good producer, and I considered myself one at one time. I know I can't play the bass, but I'm gonna go get a bad bass player. And so, I'm gonna try to assemble some good musicians so we can make a joyful noise unto the Most High for real. So with that being said, shalom.